All right, I'm going to welcome back Joe Manniello on the channel. Had a bit of technical issues at the beginning. That's my fault. So I'll do the run through and the intro without him before we get him on the line. So I went 2-3 last week to bring me to 22-19. Joe went 4-1. He is 20-21. He won that pick, the Broncos and the Chargers. I really like the Chargers, and they were up big, and they blew it. That was frustrating. So let's get into it. Let's talk Giants and Washington. We'll start there.
The Bucs are one of my best bets. Given Daniel Jones is 4-16 as a starter, and he's 3-0 against Washington. So I feel like, maybe that's just a weird number, but maybe he just it plays well against them. And the even match teams, and both 1-win teams, not great teams. So 3 points, I feel like the Giants can win the game. So
yeah,
I feel like you got to take the 3. If Washington wins by 4 to 7, then so be it. But I think the Giants. And the whole idea that Jones has played well against them. And last year they had a huge game there. I think they scored 41 points. It was like a classic game. I think it wound up costing the Giants a second pick, and the Washington got Chase Young. But two bad NFC East teams. I think it might be another super close game, like the 20-19 game. I could see, another 1 point, 2 point, 3 point game either way. So if you're getting 3 points and it's a toss up, I feel like you just take the points. So I'll take the Giants.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking the Giants this week also, and reasoning behind it is they've been in these games and they've gotten out to some leads and blown some leads late, especially the last few weeks. But Daniel Jones tends to play pretty well against Washington in his career. He's had some decent success against them, and I don't think not that either of these two teams are good, but I think Washington's just a little bit of a step behind where the Giants are, and I think this is one of the weeks you could pencil in a Giants win. And, when you go through and circle which games the Giants could win, I definitely look at this one as a winnable game. It was a close matchup last time. I expect it to be that way again, but in the end, I think the Giants win a low-scoring, ugly kind of game, maybe, I don't know, 22-20, something like that.
Yeah, I meant to say the Giants, their last 4 games, 3-point loss, 1 point win, 1 point loss, 2 point loss. So they're in every game, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're both on the Giants. How about the other New York team, the New York Jets, taking on the Patriots on Monday Night Football? Pats are favored by 7.5. Who do you like here?
Yeah, Pats are my best bet of the week. I love the Pats this week. 7.5 is a lot, but it's the Jets. Pats are 2-5. I mean, they're going to be super motivated not to lose again, to have any shot at a wild card. So I think the Jets are just 0-8. They've only covered 1 game, and that was the game that they probably shouldn't have covered, with the Bills kicking all those field goals and totally outplaying them for most of the second half. So it's just you don't want to give too much thought to these picks with the Jets. It's just they don't have enough players. They're trading away key players. I have no faith in Adam Gase. Obviously, Bill Belichick, one of the biggest coaching mismatches in NFL history.
Right.
Patriots always seem to be beat up on the Jets, and I feel like they probably would have beaten the Bills last week if Cam Newton didn't fumble there on that game-winning, on that last late drive that would have either taken the lead or tied the game. So I feel like this is the perfect opponent for them. 2-win team, much better than their record, even though they're not the same kind of team that they were in the past.
Right.
But I think this is a easily double-digit win, maybe like a 27-10 kind of game. So Patriots best bet.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love the Patriots this week for a lot of the reasons that you laid out. And despite the Patriots being bad and Bill Belichick kind of admitting that, what did you expect sort of a thing with his comments about Cam Newton, they are not in the same stratosphere of bad as the New York Jets. And like you said, Bill Belichick is miles better than Adam Gase. They are not losing to the Jets this week. They are going to win this game by easily 10 to 14 points. I think I was surprised to see this at 7 or 7.5 where we have it here. I think this is a lock as well. I'm taking the Patriots, I don't know, maybe 24-13, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games similar to the Giants game. Like, I was shocked that they covered, but it makes me wonder, maybe if it feels so good to be true, you always got to think about maybe it's too obvious, but it's the Jets. I mean, they've been getting blown out left and right. I just think this is the week the Patriots get right and get back in the win column.
Absolutely. Now to the game of the week. Let's talk Saints and Bucks. The Bucks are favored by 5.5 in this game. Who do you like here?
Yeah, it should be a good game. They played in week 1, and Saints won that game. Brady had a bad game with pick 6. He had 2 picks, and my first thought was to take the Bucs. I mean, since that game, they've won 6 of 7, and the lone loss was a 1-point game at Chicago on Thursday night a couple weeks back. My first thought was to take the Bucs. I think they'll win the game. I think the 5.5 is too many points. If it was 3.5, I'd probably take the Bucs. But to win by 6 points is not easy. Division rival. Saints. The Saints haven't been their dominant selves of lately, but I think Michael Thomas is going to be back. I saw Alvin Kamara is a little banged up, but he should play. I just think the rivalry game could determine home field against. They could meet again in the playoffs, and the winner of this game could win the division. So it could be. I don't know if it's going to be a bye, but it could be, only one team gets the bye this year, but it could be, who's hosting who in the second round or whatever.
Right.
So I just think the number's too big. So I think the Bucs will win, but I'm going to take the 5.5. I think the Saints will keep it competitive, and it could be like a, 34-30 kind of game, or 34-31, and whoever has the ball last wins kind of game. I mean, the Bucs are definitely, overall, I think the more complete team. Their defense is great, but the Saints still have a ton of key players from the last few years, and I think it's just going to be a close rivalry matchup. So 5.5 points is just too many to pass up. So I'll take the Saints.
Okay, usually I'm right there with you with the Saints, but I'm going with the Bucs reluctantly. I went back and forth on this one, but this team has really proved me wrong in a lot of ways, and I know they narrowly squeaked by the Giants here this past week, but it's a home game for the Bucs. I know they didn't play that great in the week 1 matchup against the Saints, but I think the Saints have kind of underwhelmed me to an extent also, and with Michael Thomas coming back, he hasn't played in a while, so I don't know how much of a connection they're going to have right away. And if Kamara's banged up, I think that worries me a little bit. So I think the Bucs win this one by a touchdown. I think you're looking at like a 27-20 kind of game. I think it should be a good one, but at the end of the day here, I think the Bucs pull away late, and they take this one in the division. So I'll take the Buccaneers 5.5.
Yep, should be a good game.
Absolutely. How about a best bet? I know you said you like the Pats, but who's somebody else you like?
Yeah, so I like the Pats, but there's 2 games where I always give my top 3 picks. So my second and third picks are both underdogs, so it doesn't really matter which one I give here first. But I guess I'll give the one I feel a little bit more confident about. I'm gonna go with the Broncos back-to-back weeks here. I think they're getting 3.5 at Atlanta. Is that right? Or maybe even 4.
3.5. Yep.
Yeah, I think this is the line could even be like a pick'em game. I mean, the Falcons. I've taken them so many times over the years, and I was so confident. Not confident, but that was like one of my best picks ever when I picked them to beat the Pats in the Super Bowl before the playoffs started. That was my pick, and still to this day, I mean, the Falcons were the right pick that night, even though they blew that 28-3 lead.
Yep. But
it's just unbelievable. Ever since then, I feel like every time they've let me down when I've taken them, and that's not why I'm picking the Broncos. I just feel the Falcons are not that good, and to give 3.5 only because they beat the Panthers on Thursday night. I mean, that was a surprising result for me, but I guess I really shouldn't be surprised in the NFL. All these weird things happen. So I just don't think the Falcons are that good. Their defense. I think the Broncos, Drew Lock, he's played well when they have to, and
right.
I think they can kind of build off that win last week, that comeback win against the Chargers, and get going here. I think I don't think the Falcons are even the better team. I mean, I think the Broncos probably have better players, better running game, better defense, and a better coach. So I think they're going to win the game. So whenever you get, golden rule picking NFL games, whenever you're getting points, even especially over more than 3, and you think the team's going to win, you take them obviously. So I like the Broncos to win the game, maybe even by a touchdown. So getting 3.5, I don't think the Falcons are that good. They shouldn't be favored by more than 3 against, maybe 2 or 3 teams, Jets and Jaguars, something like that. And Broncos are a good team, so I think it's a great value play.
Absolutely. I was actually going to use that game. I still will. I'll use that game for my upset pick. I like the Broncos a lot too, and since you mentioned them, I might as well give my take on it now.
There you go. Okay.
Same thing. I don't think Atlanta's fraudulent. I know they won last week against Carolina, but with all due respect to Carolina, I think the Broncos are a little bit closer to being more of a complete team. Drew Lock, I think, has played well when he's gotten the opportunity. Nice comeback win against the Chargers. Was able to beat the Patriots on the road. Got to give him credit for that. And
good point.
I think that I know it's the game's in Atlanta too. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me either way. I think the Broncos win this one outright, and the 3.5 is obviously very enticing to take. So I'm right there with you. I'm using that as the upset. So let's hear your other upset pick then.
Yeah, so that was my best bet. So the upset, the other one is the Miami Dolphins. I think they're getting 5 at Arizona. Is that right?
I will check that right now, but I believe it is 5.
Yeah, it's 4:00 game. Yeah, Arizona's off a bye. They played really well. They last 2 games they came back and beat the Seahawks on Sunday night, and the week before that they crushed the Cowboys. Both of those primetime games. I like the Cardinals. They were my surprise wildcard team for NFC. But the Dolphins, I think they're a really, really good team. I think Brian Flores is one of the most underrated coaches in the NFL. Last week, I loved the Dolphins. I was kind of buying into the Tua hype, and he didn't really have a big game, but the defense played great.
Right.
They had a defensive touchdown. They had a punt return, I think, for a touchdown. They had a couple interceptions, sacks. That defense is really, really good. And I just think that 5 points is way too many, similar to the Bucs Saints logic and the Broncos Falcons logic. I think 5 points is way too many. You know, if the Cardinals win, I think it'll be a close game. So getting 5 points, and I also feel like Dolphins could win this game. Flores is really underrated. I don't think people realize how good he is. I think he'll wind up being like the best Patriots assistant coach, like him and Vrabel 10, 20 years from now. When you look back on Belichick's assistants, you're like, oh, who's the best one? And I think it'll be a toss-up between Vrabel and Brian Flores. I think that team is, they're 4-3. They just beat the Rams. I think that kind of young team, that kind of win against the established team like the Rams, they can build off that, motivation and confidence. And I think it'll be a great matchup, Tua versus Kyler Murray, two young guys, top 5 picks, the number 1 pick, number 5 pick. I think it should be a great game, high-scoring game. Both teams going to be high 20s, maybe even 30. So getting 5, again, I think the Dolphins might even win the game. So that many points, I think, the Cardinals off the bye. Maybe they're feeling a little bit too good about themselves after that great win against the Seahawks and that Monday night win at Dallas. Maybe this is I wonder if they're maybe not going to take Miami, maybe take them a little lightly, thinking that, hey, this is the Miami Dolphins. Who knows how these teams really approach these games, the players. You really wonder how they play. Obviously when they play a team like Seattle or the Niners, they're going to be more up for it. Division game, established team. A team like the Dolphins on the rise, they might underestimate them. So
true. I
think Flores' team comes through here again. Close game. So I love getting the 5 points.
Yeah, that line moved to 4.5, by the way. But
okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I like that pick a lot. So I'm gonna go backtrack to my best bet because we had the same pick that I'm using for my upset. So I really like the Texans this week, -7.5 over Jacksonville. I couldn't even tell you who the quarterback of Jacksonville is with Gardner Minshew out.
Jake Luton is his name.
Yeah, there you go.
Rookie.
So I don't think he stands much of a chance. To be quite honest with you, I think Jacksonville is the Jets' biggest threat for the number 1 pick. I don't see the Jets winning a game, so I don't think it matters. But Jacksonville is going to be right up there, right behind them with 1 win, I think, at 1-15. And I like the Texans to go to work on that defense. So the 7.5 doesn't scare me. I think this is a 10 to 14 point win for Houston this week over their division rival.
Yeah, 2 things. A few weeks back, I had taken the Jaguars as my best bet at Houston, getting 6. I was like, how could the Texans be favored by that many points?
Right.
They wound up winning 30-14, but it was a closer game early on, so it was a bad pick by me. But this is a tough one. I feel like I was thinking about taking Jacksonville again, but after hearing you say that and then reading some other people's picks, it's just sometimes one of those things like just don't overthink it. They got a rookie quarterback. The team stinks, but they're both off a bye. And 7.5 is just so many points on the road. But then again, if Houston wins by 10, I'll really be surprised. So. One more thing about Houston.
Sure.
Not Houston, Jacksonville. When the season started, I had tweeted, if you want to win your survivor pool, just bet against Jacksonville every week, not realizing that the Jets are going to be that bad.
Right.
And of course they won. Of course the Jaguars won week 1 against the Colts.
Right.
So I look like an idiot. But then they've lost 6 straight. So my idea was a good one, just a week too early.
Exactly, a week early on it.
I agree with that. I agree about that. I think they might win one other game, but I think the Jets are definitely going 0-16.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, for sure. So let's run through real quick. Both Joe and I are on the Giants +3 against Washington. Both of us also like the Patriots -7.5 against the Jets on Monday Night Football. I like the Bucs -5.5, and Joe is on the Saints +5.5 for the game of the week. As for best bet, I got the Texans -7.5 over Jacksonville. Joe likes the Broncos +3.5, and so do I, as I'm using that for my upset pick. And the Dolphins is Joe's upset pick at 4.5 over Arizona. Another week in the books, Joe. Thanks so much for checking in. We'll talk again real soon.
And halfway point of the season goes so fast.
It does go quick. I can't believe it.
Thanks. All right, thanks again.
All right, no problem. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.